Hello and welcome everyone again into another video. Today's video will talk about the best teams you could actually use in the Go Battle League. Great League, to be more specific. This is the second time we have Great League rotation, and the meta has slightly changed. By slightly, I mean it actually changed by a lot. So many Pokemons that now are being even are more viable. Like we're talking about something like Dusclops, Dusknir, Grumpig. Dusknir here. We talked about Dusknir already. Shadow Drapion is even better, much better than it was, and it was already so freaking good. We have Lapras. Lapras is insanely strong, like the Psywave. Giving Lapras Psywave made it insanely strong, and we have something like Blastoise, the coolest Pokemon in the entire game. If you have a sunglasses on. If you have the one with sunglasses on. But according to PvP says that it's Mandibuzz and Clodsire and Malamar are like the best three Pokemons. I agree with the best two. I don't think Malamar is the strongest. I think the strongest Pokemon in the current Great League meta is Shadow Sableye. It's just insanely strong. And it's kind of safe versus the Psywave users and non-Psywave users. And there isn't that many Charm users that people are using. That's because like Lapras just destroy all the Charm users. Yeah, so it's not just Lapras. Grumpig destroys the Charmers. And there is more Pokemons that I would like to talk about in this video. If we take a look, I removed the categories. I used to say like this is the best lead, this is a good safe swap, this is a good closer. We kind of say that these are still great closers, but like the definition, the differences between a good lead and safe swap no longer exist, because safe swap, the word safe swap is no longer correct. I think pivot is more accurate right now, just because there isn't a safe swap. Most of the teams now are either ABA or ABB, no longer ABC teams. You could say Diggersby is a good safe swap. You could say Dugong and Dunsparce, but those aren't actually safe, because like the new buffs we got last season are like just pushed for more like ABA format and ABB format. Serperior is just an insanely strong. Jumpluff, it's too freaking good of a Pokemon, and you actually don't need a Shadow. I don't know why I have Shadow here. But if we're talking about oppressive, when it comes to the most oppressive Pokemons, I think that Annihilate is the Shadow Annihilate in neutral matchups is just the most oppressive one, because the fact that you would just win the 2 shield in all the neutral matchups and you just destroy the next Pokemon, because your fast move will be triple boosted and counter is still like doesn't insane amount of damage. So you can imagine what will happen when it's 3 times boosted. Sand Slash is not as good, because whatever you want your Sand Slash to do, Lapras can do it much better, easier, without fainting fast. Like I saw like Lapras can do whatever this thing does, and even better. Like we're talking about, like you're no longer gonna lose to one Talonflame. Like Talonflame, Talonflame demolish A Slash, but Lapras is very chill into Talonflame. Literally doesn't even care or pay attention to whatever Talonflame is gonna do. So now let's just talk about the top performing Pokemons. These are like kind of the top Pokemons, as you can see. Lapras, Sableye, Cursula. I don't know why Cursula is here. It's kind of not as ideal as it used to be. Grumpig, insanely strong. Dusclops, too good. Shadow Dusclops, Feraligatr, and Shadow Feraligatr. Those 4 options kind of perform the same. But there is a saying that Shadow Dusclops is the new best Pokemon if you want to 2-shield and farm all the way down. Morpeko is insanely strong in the current Go Battle League. Diggersby, I would say Diggersby is freaking good. The problem with Diggersby now is that there is so many Pokemons with Dynamic Punch. Like now Dusclops and Dusknir both beat Diggersby. Yes, they are Ghost, and usually Ghost lose to normal type, because this thing has Dynamic Punch, and this thing, if you have the Shadow, 2 Ice Punches or 3 Ice Punches just do the exact amount of damage to KO. Now, let's talk about the top performing Pokemons. And according to PvP, the top performing Pokemon now is actually Shadow Annihilate. It's the most oppressive Pokemon. It was last season and still is. But now there is more options to counter it. You don't need just a Sableye. You can just run a Psywave. In fact, if Annihilate throw a close combat, Lapras can farm it all the way down. by just shielding the charge moves, and the Psywave, since it's super effective and it's one turn, it will demolish the Shadow Annihilate. Those three options here. I don't know about Corviknight. Corviknight is just a slow Pokemon. I don't like it. I don't think it's good, but on paper it has some good matchups because it's just a good Pokemon, and the one shield just doesn't do damage. Like, it's like using Umbreon, you know? It's like, you know, it's not gonna do damage. Like, yeah, it's gonna win this, but it's boring and not gonna do damage. Escalodurge, with getting to the Touch Song, what that song, the new move they gave it, made a comeback to the meta. But I don't think that's still enough. What this Pokemon needs ground Pokemons to be bad, and water Pokemons to be bad. And ground and water Pokemons, or either or both, are just very insane, very strong in the meta. Universe Stunfisk got like 3 buffs, I think, so far. I don't think it's still enough because still the Pokemon just doesn't have a nuke. It's all baiting charge moves. You need a nuke. Like, just give it something, I don't know. Like, it has discharge. Give it something like Earth Power, a Scorching Sand, something like these moves, you know. So it would have a nuke potential. Morpeko didn't get a buff, but the thing about Morpeko is that it just beat all the meta stuff. Like, I think I tried it last Great League rotation, and I was just sweeping because everyone was just running Psywave Pokemons, and Morpeko is part Dark, so you just double resist these Psychic Pokemons. Psychic fast move Pokemons. So now let's talk about the top performing teams, and we're following the new format where like every Pokemon will get 2 into 2 teams at least. One is like kind of easy to go, one is like more bulky option. So if you whether you want like a high skill Pokemon or like a high skill, or like just a low skill high performance, stuff like this. As an example, Annihilate is very strong. As I said, it's the top performing Pokemon right now. So what you need to be aware of when you're using Annihilate is basically the ghost type Pokemon. So that's why you have to have a normal type. So with this team, you go with Diggersby. With this team, you go with Dunsparce. But that's not it, you know, like you have to have something that beats the fairies. So that's why here there is a Toxapex, or you could do Jumpluff. Jumpluff still beat all the fairies. So this is kind of like a very popular team from last season. This is one of the popular teams this season. Which one do I would rather to go with? I think I would rather go with this, but this will make you too weak to ice. But honestly, you just use Diggersby to bait out the ice. So I would run Diggersby, Annihilate, and Jumpluff, just because Jumpluff, like, by the way, with Jumpluff now you need Acrobatic. Yes, it's the legacy move. Sorry if you removed Acrobatic. I removed my Acrobatic. Now I have to give it a an Elite TM. Like, I have to use an Elite TM to get Acrobatic with my Jumpluff. So that's something we have to deal with. Now, since Corviknight is a top performing Pokemon, we have to make a team for Corviknight. And there is 2 paths if you want to go with. Corviknight loves to be paired with Dark Pokemons because Dark Pokemons kind of destroys all the water types. And this thing kind of is weak to those. Especially most of the ghosts beat Corviknight because the current ghosts... Some ghosts in the current meta like resist sand attack. So that's why like you see that is Guzzlord here or Mandibuzz. If you want to run Mandibuzz, you have to run Snarl here, huh? Don't run Air Slash. You need Snarl here. And Goodra, this was like kind of a popular team last season, which is Corviknight with Goodra and the Ufisk or Gastrodon or Kanto Marowak. Any of these options would actually be ideal. But I don't think Corviknight is decent, so if you want to have fun, let's go to the next team. Lapras with Morpeko or Serperior or both. Or you can go with the Sableye route, and you put a Clodsire as a third. So the thing about Lapras, remember, it's kind of an ice, so it's technically weak to fighters, so you need 2 answers to the fighters, right? So that's why we have Clodsire and the Sableye. But also, you could say that Lapras is weak to electric, so you need 2 anti-electric Pokemons, and nothing beats the electric better than Morpeko, or better than... Serperior. And Serperior, actually, I literally put it on this team just to remind myself to tell you guys that Serperior is a nasty Pokemon in the current meta. Next Pokemon, I mean, it's number 1 on PvPoke, so we might as well just, you know, give you some teams using Mandibuzz. I think with Mandibuzz, there is 2 options. Tap, 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 or like throwing some charge moves here. So if you want to have like a team that requires some sort of skill, you go with Ufisk, Univa Stunfisk, Grumpig, and Mandibuzz. But if you are into tap team, just tapping your screen, you don't care what you see, what you face, you can just go with Mandibuzz and Claydol, the Pokemon that has been getting buffed since season 1, and Wigglytuff. This team is kind of an easy, lazy, I would call it lazy boy team, but hey, it's still a decent team. Now, which one of these teams would you run? Well, none. I am not someone that loves to use these bulky Ars Pokemon. I am someone that enjoy more of like a flexible switching out to switching in type of a playstyle. So I will be using something like Credeli. Credeli is such a nasty Pokemon. Honestly, I was talking to Homeslice Henry and we kind of both agree that Credeli was over buffed. Like it was buffed too much. They gave it rollout and then they buffed it rollout. So it's technically 2 buffs. They actually buffed rollout. Sorry, they gave it not rollout. They gave it Rock Tomb, and then they over buffed Rock Tomb because Rock Tomb now is a Scorching Sand that has 100% chance to debuff. It's supposed to be 30 chance, by the way. So you can imagine how much they over buffed this Pokemon by. So if you want to have fun, I recommend using Jumpluff, Credeli with Mandy and Grumpig. This is a nasty, disgusting team, but I want to run Claydol. I want to test out Claydol. I have a shiny one that I would like to use, and I'm a Sableye guy, so I'm going to use Sableye. So the team I will actually be running is Sableye, Credeli, and Claydol. Now, for those people who ask, I don't have a Sableye, what should I be running? I mean, there is a Pokemon that technically performs the same as Sableye, and that Pokemon is Malamar. What does Malamar do? You could say Malamar is Sableye 2.0. It's just a fast move Pokemon with good coverage. Loose heart to Charmer. So technically, it's the closest Pokemon to Sableye. Malamar loves to be paired with a poison Pokemon, so I think the 2 people that spam Malamar the most are the Pokemango and Pocket. By the way, you should check those 2 streamers. And they both love to pair it with Drapion. That's because Drapion kind of perform as a dark that bait out the dark countered Pokemons. So it just give Malamar more flexibility on the team. And the third option is another Pokemon that can beat the fairies. And those 2 actually, both of them beat the fairies. Something to mention, I think Duckspawn, the new fairy kind of beats Serperior in the 2. So if you see Duckspawn, just run Credeli and shield the first charge move they throw. Now, if you think that's all the Sableye teams, no, you will be wrong, because I have more options to run Sableye. So Sableye, Claydol, and Lapras or A-Slash is a good team. But for those people who want to use Primeape is actually a good Pokemon to pair with Sableye, and you can have Credeli as a third. But since we talked about Dusclops perform great with Credeli, Dugong, or Wiggly. So you kind of have to have those 2, one of those 3 or 2 of these 3. Some people were playing Charm double Dusks, like Wiggly with Dusknir, Dusclops. You use Dusknir to bait out the ghost counter, and then you have Dusclops in the back to 2 shield, or you can just have a tap team with Dugong and Gastrodon. Now, one of my favorite buffed Pokemons this season is Ferret. If you guys saw my YouTube channel, last a Great League rotation, I was using Ferret in like every other video. Like, I think I posted 3 videos about Ferret. This Pokemon reminds me of the old Vigoroth, but better. Why better? Because Vigoroth kind of had only 1 charge move to throw, while like Ferret has a second charge move, which is Trailblaze, which will help you out to boost your fast move, and it has the best fast move in the game, which is the Sucker Punch. It would love a fairy pairing, so you kind of, if you want to run double charm teams, sorry guys, but this is the most toxic team. Double charm Ferret, double charm is the most toxic team you could run in the Go Battle League right now. Now I'm going to talk about some teams that I used in the past, but I'm just going to adjust them to fit in the current meta. As an example, the wholesome team I used to hit legend with, which is Azu, Drapion, and Sandslash. We just replaced Sandslash with Lapras. Another legend team here we have. I think this is the team I hit legend with last season. I made actually 3 or 4 videos. Corsola with A slash or Dugong and Kwak, and you just replace those 2 ice Pokemons with Lapras, and then you would have a team that is updated to the current season meta. And we have the Cool Kid team, Kwak with Dugong and Moltres. You just replace Dugong with Lapras and Moltres with Bombardier, or whatever the name of this Pokemon is. Any other Pokemons that's worth mentioning? I think that's pretty much it. We covered everything. But for as with Double Ghost, I don't think you're on Double Ghost anymore. Like, you can just do Feraligatr. I don't think so. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all you guys need to know about the current Great League meta. So thank you so much everyone for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed your time here while watching this video. If you made it this far, don't forget to like the video if you like the content. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Now we'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.